What's up, y'all? What's up? Welcome to the Pugilistic Linguistic Show. I am your host, Michael Foster, the voice of reason in an increasingly unreasonable world. And I am back for another one. Before I get started, like I say all the time, tell your friends, tell your Romans, tell your countrymen about this podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Do all that. Help a brother out. Let's make 2026 the biggest one ever. Yes, 2026. We're getting old, y'all. So, I was watching TV recently, and a movie trailer popped up for a movie that's coming out next week, January 9th, 2026. A movie called Primate. So I'm watching this thing or whatever. It's some sort of horror movie or whatever. And based on the trailer, what I can piece together is some sort of chimpanzee or whatever that some people, raised from an infant and taught them to speak as far as like sign language is concerned, and that whole making him a pet type thing. And I guess when he gets older, he turns against his humans and terrorizes them, something like that. I'm sure there's probably more to it, but that's the gist I got from the trailer. So as I'm watching this trailer, I start to think, these things wouldn't happen. Of course, it's a movie, so I'm not saying it's true. But these things wouldn't happen if we as people stop trying to domesticate everything. Stop trying to make every animal we cross a pet. You can't domesticate everything, y'all. They're called wild animals for a reason. They're wild. They're unpredictable. Who knows how they'll respond in captivity? First of all, think about that. A wild animal in captivity. Those two words right there are paradox. They're wild. They shouldn't be captive. But we as people, I guess we believe we're the baddest things in the jungle, and everything below us should bow to our whims and be kept in our houses. Let me tell you something. You ain't got no damn business having a chimp in your house living there. I don't care who you are. I don't care how bad you think you are. I don't care none of that. It's a wild animal. You know me, I call it how I see it. Typically, it's white folk that do this. You ain't going over no brother house and off in the cut seeing some chimp over there on the couch chilling, eating some Doritos. That ain't gonna happen. I think instinctively a lot of us know that's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Working with them, domesticating, or at least trying to, bad idea. Because one bad day by some animal that's stronger than us, and you're going to have a bad day. Like, there was this lady in Connecticut, I believe, and she had a chimp as a pet. Named him Travis. Dressed him up probably in like country club attire with pastels or some crap like that, and gave him a name, Travis, and lived in her house and the whole 9 yards. I don't know the specifics of how he came to be with her, but so he grows up and he's like a 200-pound chimp now. when he's like an adult. And one day, a friend of hers came over who was familiar with him. I guess they were friends and she had been around him a lot. But she comes over to the house, and Travis had been having a bad day. And on this particular day, Travis didn't want to hear shit they had to say and decided to go rogue and went off on the friend, like just attacking her. Like bit her face off and, ripped at her. I mean, he did some damage to the friend and to his human, to the point to where I believe the friend died. And his human calls 911. Like she had stabbed him or whatever and all that, in protection, and he wasn't having it. Now, generally, I don't like listening to 911 calls. I don't like to hear people in distress. I don't like to hear people at their worst, but I listened to this 911 call. And she's yelling in the phone that Travis has gone crazy, and you hear the chimp in the background doing his chimp things. Screeching and hollering and all that. And she's telling the cops to come and shoot him and this, that, and the third and all this. She's like, I tried to tranquilize him. I guess she had like tranquilizers on deck. It didn't work. He was on 1. He was on 10. Long story short, I believe the cops came. They subdued him. They killed him. They did something. And she was left disfigured. Like she had to have like facial reconstruction surgery in the whole 9 yards. And I couldn't help but think, what the hell you doing with a chimp in your house? If he wasn't there and he was in his wild doing his thing, eating bananas, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But you thought it was a good idea to try to domesticate this wild animal. And your friend paid the ultimate price, and you paid a steep penalty for it too. What is it about us people? I mean, it strikes me as absolute arrogance. I can do anything I want to these animals, and they have to bend to my will. This is why places like SeaWorld or whatever, they're just inherently bad ideas. There was this orca at SeaWorld. His name was Tilikum. Now, Tilikum was a killer whale, like I said, an orca. Male, adult. I don't know how, orca's age. 15 is adult, 20 is adult. I don't know. But he was an adult orca who had already had 2 bodies on his record. Okay, he had already killed 2 people at SeaWorld. Okay, that right there should have told you, you know what, I'm going to stop messing with him. I'm going to go ahead and put him back in the ocean, let him do his killer whale things with other killer whales. But no. SeaWorld decides we still going to keep this cat around, and we gonna do like shows with this dude. Again, he already had 2 bodies on his record. Killed a trainer once, and then killed some idiot jumps in there after hours and starts to play with this cat, play with this orca, and Tilikum wasn't having it. Killed him too. As a matter of fact, he put him on his back and paraded him around. He paraded his dead body around. Whatever. But SeaWorld was like, no. We can control him. Let him still do shows. So one day at SeaWorld, his trainer, her name was Dawn Brando or something like that. So his trainer, they were doing the show, whatever, and people were recording. They were doing the show, and everything went okay. But towards the end of the show, Tillicum got a little belligerent. He wasn't doing the tricks right, and he was kind of moving how he wanted to move. Unexpectedly, Dawn Brancheau, that was her name. Unexpectedly, of what the trainer was expecting him to do. So show was over, whatever, and everything's kind of calming down. People are still filming and watching or whatever. All of a sudden, this killer whale grabs Dawn by the ponytail and wouldn't let her go and dragged her under the water. Now, at this moment, everybody know some shit about to jump off. And the thing about killer whales, it ain't like you can just get a whip and smack him and he'll stop and drop what he's doing or shoot him with a tranquil. This thing is tons. So when he decides to move, he moves just like that. And he essentially drags her under the water and does immense damage to Dawn. And kills her, of course. The third body that this killer whale in captivity has on his record. Now, all of a sudden, we need to rethink these orca shows. But it took that to realize maybe it's not a good idea to have a multiple ton killer whale in captivity around squishy humans. It took all that. The first body didn't tell you that. The second body didn't tell you that. It took a third body for you to realize this might not be a good idea. Again, wild animals in captivity. There was an elephant. I don't remember her name. It was a female. In a circus in Hawaii. Oh, this had been mid-90s. First of all, as a kid, I loved the circus. This was before the realization of what a circus truly was to me. Animals being forced to perform against their will. When I was a kid, I didn't know no better. As I grew up, the idea of a circus just became, it felt ick to me. These animals don't want to be here. And you whipping them and smacking them and all this, it's inherently cruel. But there was this elephant in a circus in Hawaii. Once again, doing her tricks. And today she wasn't having it. This day she rampaged. Like killed her trainer and literally stomped out the circus. Mid-circus, mid-performance. And rampaged through the streets of Honolulu. Like literally there's an elephant walking down the street tearing shit up. She had enough. People, these animals have feelings. And when they've had enough, they've had enough. And somebody's going to bear the wrath of this pissed off animal. But once again, if we didn't have them in captivity, try to make them pets or try to make money off of them, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And from what I understand, how they originally acquired this animal in the first place was brutal. Killing off her kin and killing off her family or whatever, and taking her as I think elephant babies are called calves. Taking her as a calf and raising her in captivity and teaching her to do these tricks. You don't think she remembers that? Now, I don't know if she has an upper level thought of, I'm going to make y'all pay for this. But what if she did? And today was the day. So she's rampaging through the streets of Honolulu, and they ultimately have to kill her to get her to stop. Now, what the human half of my brain understands why they had to do that to stop the rampage, but the other side of my brain had to say, why she got to pay the ultimate penalty? Because our humans did her wrong. Why she got to die? Because some human kidnapped her from her family and forced her essentially into animal slavery. Why she got to die? Again, we the biggest, baddest things in the jungle, so everything must bow to our whims. If I want to keep you in a cage, put you on a leash, I should be able to do that because I'm the big, bad human. There's an old saying that says, do not involve yourself with the affairs of dragons, for you are squishy and good with ketchup. We need to realize we are squishy and good with ketchup. And there are tons of wild animals out there ready to test that theory. But the most egregious ones are them Siegfried and Roy cats in Vegas. They're both gone now, but these were the dudes who had these white tigers and did shows with them in Vegas for like years. I mean, they were popular. But the thing is, they were messing with nature. These are tigers. I don't care if they're endangered white tigers or the regular old Bengal tigers or whatever. These are wild animals. I don't care if I don't care if they were born in captivity and raised in captivity and currently in captivity. They have a wild streak. So Siegfried and Roy, these cats are doing these shows, and one day this tiger named Manticore, one of the male tigers, had enough. Today is the day that I rise up against these Mickey Fickies. And on stage, this white Bengal tiger bites, I believe it was Roy. I don't remember which one he actually bit. But he bit the dude in the neck, dragged him off stage. Today is the day. And caused severe damage. The dude had a stroke and, he almost died. And, he survived it. But the show was over at that moment. And what kills me about the whole situation, everybody mad at the tiger. What the hell you mad at the tiger for? The tiger did what tigers do. Chris Rock said it best. Everybody talking about the tiger went crazy. That tiger ain't go crazy. That tiger went tiger. The tiger was crazy when he was riding a little bicycle with a helmet on. That's when the tiger was crazy. But everybody mad at the tiger. The hell you mad at the tiger for? He only did what nature tells him to do. But what you notice is about Siegfried and Roy, again, I wasn't an expert. I didn't watch all these shows, but what they didn't do was turn their back on the tigers, ever. Because somewhere in the deepest recesses of their soul, they knew that would have been a bad idea. You don't turn your back on a tiger. If you do, that's all she wrote for you. So they instinctively knew, I need to handle these dudes. I need to handle these tigers with a little care. There are certain things I can't and shouldn't do around them, which tells me that you understood what you were messing with. But again, what you mad at the tiger for? Thankfully, Roy had the, I don't know, compassion. Don't kill the tiger, because they were gonna kill him. Why you gonna kill him? What did he do that was so wrong? He only did what nature told him to do. Attack. We need to stop trying to domesticate everything. Everything ain't meant to be a pet. There was this one dude. His name was Timothy Treadwell. And what he would do was he would leave wherever he lived in the continental United States and fly to Alaska every summer and literally live amongst the grizzly bears and then come home in the fall, to the point to where his nickname was Grizzly Man. And I saw a documentary about him or whatever, and he would literally go and live around the same bears to the point to where he would give them names, and he would literally live with them, live amongst them. He would, scold them and reprimand them and square up against them when they were doing bear things, and just living among. And I think it was from the standpoint of he was trying to bring awareness to like poaching. Okay, so he would do this to bring awareness to people who would poach these grizzly bears. But he always said he never thought he was in danger. I'm going to square up against them and show them who's boss in the whole 9 yards. And it worked for years until it didn't. And then when it didn't work anymore, he was in trouble. So this one particular year, he would get, extracted or flown out in like October before the bears got aggressive, before they started to, store up for the winter. Because apparently when it gets close to hibernation time, these grizzly bears get very aggressive because they're trying to store food, whatever, for their hibernation. Well, this particular year, Treadwell decides to stay a little bit later than he normally did, which put him in significant danger. Now, whether he knew it or not, I don't know. But he was in significant danger, and I don't think I don't know. I don't know if he realized it or not. But anyway, one day he's out and about, and this one bear, steps to him. So he tried his normal shtick or whatever, and it didn't work today. Because this bear was aggressive, he was hungry, and you are squishy and good with ketchup. So somehow or another, the video camera that he always kept with him was recording. I don't know if he had set it up to do something else, but it was recording, but it had the lens cap on it. So there was no video captured, but it was all audio. And again, and the audio of that was never truly released to the public, but from what was being told, it was awesome. It was awful. It was gruesome. It was. It was. And what made it even worse, his girlfriend happened to be there at that time too. So it was two of them. So this bear grabs Treadwell from this is from what's being told about the audio because I've never heard it. It's never been released. But grabs him and just rips him to shreds. The girlfriend hits the grizzly bear with a skillet or something, and he goes off. The bear goes away for a minute and then comes back and finishes the job, and then takes her out too. And there was no more grizzly man. This is what I'm talking about. Certain things inherent to human nature should have told you at the beginning this is a bad idea. When we were like Neanderthals walking around with clubs and sticks and shit, we had that instinct to say, I ain't messing with that saber-tooth tiger over there because I can't win this fight. But now, we decide we can mess with anything and get away with it. But Roy Horn and Timothy Treadwell and Don Brancho and the handler of the elephant in the circus and the woman who had Travis the chimp will all beg to differ. Because these are wild animals. Stick to the dogs and cats, y'all. Fish and hamsters and any other thing that can't do you harm. Hell, there's some dogs out there you ain't got no business messing with, but that's a different conversation. Like Cane Corsos, I ain't messing with them. Them things would eat you to die. I ain't messing with him. But anyway, that's a different conversation. Humans, we need to suppress our arrogance and realize everything can't be domesticated. Not even can't. Everything shouldn't be domesticated. We shouldn't have all kinds of animals living in our house. Stop. Are y'all going to end up like all them people I just talked about? Stop. So, my time is almost up here. Just go get you a cat. A little one. They don't do too much damage. But anyway, I'm gonna get on down. Allow me to say thank you all for letting me rant for 30 minutes and like, share, and subscribe this. Tell people about this podcast, y'all. Just tell them. How long does it take? Seconds? Hey, go listen to this dude. He got a little sense. Yeah, I got a little sense. But anyway, share this around, man. Tell people about this podcast. It don't cost you nothing. Like, share, and subscribe. PayPal and Cash App if you want to support. I appreciate y'all. And as I say all the time before I go, take care of yourselves and each other. Especially in these days and times. All right? Peace.